Welcome to today's video in my basic series. So today's basic series video is going to be talking about preparing before your first appointment. If you've been referred by your NHS GP or you've booked a consultations coming up in the next few days with a private rheumatologist, you want to be trying to make the most out of that appointment. I'm always surprised actually when I do see patients that although this sounds like a real basic factor, many people do come and haven't thought about the appointment in advance and how to communicate clearly their needs, their symptoms, and that can mean that there's wasted time during the consultation. Because of clinic booking schedules and because the doctor you're going to see does have a responsibility to try and be on time for the next patient, this can lead to time being wasted from the consultation that could be used more constructively to try and help understand how to help you or to explain what the doctor's planning to do following that consultation. So, where do you start? How do you get most out of that consultation? The first is what we call the presenting complaint and the history of presenting complaints. So doctors will take a very structured approach to the consultation, asking questions flowing through different segments that's going to be helpful in terms of understanding about your risk factors and your symptoms. So start by thinking, what is it that I'm seeing the rheumatologist about? So if it's joint pains, where are those joint pains? How bad are those joint pains on a scale, maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 10? Can I give a description for the nature of those joint pains? Do those joint pains bother me at a particular time of the day or a particular day of the week, or when I'm doing a particular activity? What changes the joint pains? What can improve them or makes them worse? Have I tried any medications myself before coming to the rheumatologist? Because that can be quite helpful if you have tried paracetamol, ibuprofen, to know whether that was helpful. And have I seen any other specialists beforehand? Keeping a diary of the symptoms is useful because then the doctor can run through that with you. Your medical information will also be useful as part of kind of risk stratification. So if your mother, sister, aunt, brother all have rheumatoid arthritis, you're much more likely to suffer from something inflammatory like that. So your family medical history will be discussed and your medications will be run through. Remember that the medication name that you might recall might actually be a brand name as opposed to the drug name. So it's worth writing down all of the types of medications and dosages on a piece of paper because it saves time in the consultation rather than rummaging through a handbag or trying to remember on the spot what tablets I'm taking. And that should include over-the-counter treatments as well. Allergies are important to run through, and a bit about your personal history. So are you working? Do you have kids? What's the impact of these symptoms on your work? So that part of the preparation is about the medical consultation. But you also might want to think about questions that you've come up with. You might have searched online. You may have a specific reason to be there that's worth jotting these things down. Finally, practical considerations. How am I going to get to the consultation? Am I going to drive myself? Am I going to use some form of public transport? Is someone else going to drive me? I recommend, if possible, that you don't drive yourself to the first consultation. And the reason is that if you're offered a procedure on the day, for example, injecting into a joint, that might not be able to be offered safely if you're going to be driving back. So if at all possible, if you can arrive by taxi, public transport, or someone driving you there, that is worth considering before your first consultation. If you can bring a friend, That's great because you've got another pair of ears. And also, you might want to bring a notepad because a lot gets discussed in a consultation. It's easy to forget the details of the consultation. Try to arrive early. It can be frustrating if you arrive early and your doctor's running late. These things do happen. But if you arrive late, then obviously what happens is if you're seen late, you're going to potentially make the next person run late who may have arrived on time. Or potentially, if the doctor's really fully booked, they may actually just refuse to see you that day or push seeing you to the right at the end of the day. So that can be very frustrating for people. So my recommendation is plan well ahead about your transportation to the appointment. So I hope you find these basic video series useful. They are very basic, but sometimes in the mix of all of the thoughts and emotions about being referred, it's easy to not prepare for these consultations. And my hope is that everybody gets the chance to get the absolute most out of those appointments that they can. If you've got suggestions on how you can prepare, or if you don't agree with any of the suggestions I've made on the best way to prepare for the consultation, leave me a comment below. If you found the video helpful, do give a like or a share. It helps with the channel's visibility. Thanks very much.